In 1964, of course, the president was Lyndon Baines Johnson. Johnson had become president after John F. Kennedy was assassinated. And although LBJ had long been vocally opposed to the expansion of the Vietnam War, even though he had campaigned for office saying he didn't want to send American boys thousands of miles away to fight a war that Asian boys ought to be fighting for themselves, even though he had campaigned that way and he had believed that the war in Vietnam was a mistake, by 1964, once he was president, LBJ had become convinced that despite everything he said before, the war in Vietnam really needed to be expanded. It should have a much greater U.S. involvement. And so on August 4th, 1964, LBJ made that case to the public in the most dramatic way possible. In a live, late-night, urgent broadcast, President Johnson told the country that the United States Navy had come under attack in the Gulf of Tonkin, just off the coast of Vietnam. President Johnson said there had been open aggression on the high seas against the United States of America and that the United States of America needed to respond to that aggression. It was a compelling case made in a very serious way. Now, in the long run, it turned out we got snookered. Turns out the whole Gulf of Tonkin thing didn't happen the way that LBJ said it happened at all. But when he said it, back in August 1964, Congress fell in line. As soon as the president gave that speech, his own party in the Senate rallied to his side. The number 2 Democrat in the Senate came out almost immediately after LBJ's speech and said he supported the president and supported what LBJ wanted to do in Vietnam.
I, for one, want to say that I don't think you can be a great power and assume the responsibilities that we do as a free nation for the cause of freedom and run every time somebody starts to draw a bead on you. And I think what President Johnson demonstrated last night was the kind of calm, resolute firmness and decisiveness which will command respect.
So that was Hubert Humphrey, obviously a Democrat. The Democrats in the Senate lining up behind the president of their own party, President Johnson. But President Johnson, a Democratic president, also got down-the-line support from the Republican leadership in the Senate, most explicitly in the case of Everett Dirksen.